Massive stones were moved across impossible distances without wheels or machinery. This is the world of prehistoric engineering marvels, a collection of 24 ancient puzzles that continue to defy modern science. By the end of our journey, you will understand the profound secrets and forgotten techniques that challenge our entire timeline of human progress. How did civilizations with only simple tools cut granite with laser-like precision? What knowledge allowed them to align entire cities with the stars? We will explore these questions and many more as we uncover the hidden legacy of our ancestors. What do you believe is the greatest mystery left behind by the ancient world? These colossal stones stand silent on the plain, a circle of giants raised over 4,000 years ago. Each sarsen stone is a monumental slab, some weighing as much as 25 tons, the equivalent of several modern cars. The mystery begins with their journey. These giants were hauled from quarries over 20 miles away across rugged terrain. How did people accomplish this without wheels, without metal tools, and without the power of domesticated animals? One prevailing theory suggests they used wooden sledges, sliding the massive stones along tracks lubricated with animal fat. Another idea involves a complex system of ropes and levers, rocking the stones forward inch by agonizing inch. Yet the physical movement is only half the puzzle. Once in place, the stones were shaped and joined with an almost impossible precision. Some of the uprights have tongue and groove joints, a sophisticated woodworking technique applied to unforgiving stone. Even more baffling is their celestial connection. The entire structure is a masterful astronomical observatory. At the summer solstice, the sun rises directly over the heel stone, casting its rays into the heart of the circle. This alignment is not a lucky accident. It required generations of precise observation and a deep understanding of the sun's cyclical path. Was it a temple for the sun, a sacred calendar for farming, or a final resting place for powerful leaders? Recent excavations have uncovered cremated human remains and ancient artifacts, deepening its aura of ceremony and ritual, but the central question endures. How did a society with only stone and bone achieve such a feat of engineering and astronomy? The sheer scale of this ambition forces us to look at even grander projects. Even Stonehenge pales before the sheer scale of Baalbek. In modern-day Lebanon, beneath the ruins of a Roman temple, sits a foundation platform of such staggering proportions it defies all conventional history. Its core is formed by 3 colossal limestone blocks known as the Trilithon, and each one is a true behemoth. They are the largest, most precisely worked stones ever used in a human construction, each weighing an almost incomprehensible 800 tons. To visualize that, imagine stacking over 150 full-grown African elephants onto a single, solid slab of rock. The Romans built their grand temple of Jupiter atop this base, but the platform itself is far older, its origins lost to a prehistoric era. The first mystery is their journey. These megaliths were quarried from a site over a mile away. Moving a single block would be a monumental challenge for modern engineers, requiring fleets of the world's most powerful cranes and custom-built transport vehicles. How a prehistoric culture accomplished this without such technology is a question that haunts archaeologists. Some propose a system of enormous wooden sledges and ropes pulled by thousands of workers along a carefully prepared road. Others speculate about the use of massive counterweights and pivots, rocking the stones forward with painstaking slowness. There are even fringe theories involving lost acoustic technologies, suggesting sound frequencies could have been used to soften the stone or reduce its weight, though no physical evidence supports such a claim. Once at the site, a second, perhaps greater, mystery unfolded. These 800-ton blocks were somehow lifted over 20 feet into the air to be set perfectly into place. The precision displayed here is as baffling as the movement. The stones are cut and fitted together with joints so flawless that not even the thin blade of a razor can be inserted between them. This indicates a master-level understanding of stoneworking, a knowledge that seems to appear fully formed in the archaeological record without any evidence of a gradual technological evolution. What was the purpose of this immense and perfect foundation? Was it for a religious temple of unimaginable grandeur, an astronomical observatory aligned with the stars, or something else entirely that we have yet to comprehend? The secrets locked within these stones challenge our perception of ancient capability. Yet, for all their immense size, some of the most perplexing ancient puzzles are found not in these giant blocks, but in stones cut with a surgeon's precision. The scattered stones of Puma Punku lie broken across the Bolivian highlands, a landscape of architectural anarchy, but a closer look reveals a shocking contradiction. These are not crude, weathered blocks. They are precision-engineered components, carved from incredibly hard andesite and red sandstone with a level of exactness that seems to defy their own era. Each stone surface is flawlessly smooth, with perfect 90-degree angles and razor-sharp edges that look as if they were cut by a diamond-tipped saw. Many of the blocks feature complex geometric patterns, with identical, interlocking channels and notches that suggest they were meant to fit together like pieces of a grand stone puzzle. This is not random artistry. It is evidence of a standardized manufacturing process, a system where every single component was produced to exact specifications, much like parts on a modern assembly line. The sheer consistency across hundreds of these stones points to a master blueprint and a level of technical knowledge that the Tiwanaku culture, which inhabited the site around 500 to 600 AD, simply should not have possessed. They had no iron, no steel. Their known tools were limited to stone hammers and copper chisels, materials utterly incapable of achieving such surgical precision in such resilient rock. How do you carve a perfect millimeter-thin groove into a slab of andesite, a stone as hard as granite, using only a stone tool? It is a question that leaves modern engineers and archaeologists baffled. The mystery only deepens with the scale. Some of these perfectly fashioned blocks weigh over 100 tons. They were quarried from mountains many miles away, transported to this high-altitude plain, and then fitted together with such impeccable joints that not a sliver of mortar was needed. The entire site was then catastrophically destroyed and abandoned. Was it a massive earthquake, a sudden cataclysm that shattered this technological marvel? Or was it intentionally dismantled, its secrets buried under the weight of time? The silent stones of Puma Punku offer no easy answers, only a profound question about a lost chapter in human ingenuity. This signature of impossible precision, however, is not unique to the Americas. It echoes across the ocean, found in another civilization that seemed to possess a similar, almost supernatural mastery over stone. The silent, stoic faces of the Moai gaze inward across Easter Island, a remote outpost in the vast Pacific Ocean. Here, nearly 900 massive stone statues stand as eternal sentinels, their creation an enduring enigma. Carved from compressed volcanic ash at the Rano-Raraku quarry, these figures are monuments of sheer will. Some tower over 30 feet tall and weigh up to 82 tons, the equivalent of more than 50 family cars. The first layer of the mystery is their journey. How were these colossal heads, with their full bodies often buried underground, transported up to 11 miles across the island's rugged, hilly landscape to their coastal platforms? For a long time, the accepted theory involved laying them on wooden sledges and pulling them over log rollers. But this idea created its own paradox, as it would have required vast quantities of timber, contributing to the very deforestation that eventually crippled the island. A more recent and compelling experiment proposed a different method, one that would have been a breathtaking spectacle. Researchers demonstrated that with 3 teams of ropes, a moai could actually be made to walk. By rocking the statue from side to side, teams could coax the giant forward in a swaying, upright gait. This method would use far less wood and seems to align with local oral histories that literally say the statues walked to their places. Yet this too is a theory, and the risk of a single misstep shattering a multi-ton monolith would have been immense. Beyond the how lies the deeper, more haunting question of why. What powerful drive compelled this small, isolated population to dedicate generations of labor to this single, overwhelming task? Were the Moai revered ancestors watching over their descendants? Were they territorial markers for powerful clans, or divine religious icons meant to channel spiritual power? The answer is likely intertwined with the island's tragic ecological story. The same societal drive that produced the Moai may have also led to the clearing of the island's palm forests, triggering soil erosion, conflict, and collapse. This creates a poignant cycle, a civilization potentially undone by the very ambition that defined it. What force could compel a people to reshape their entire world, even at the risk of their own survival? This profound human drive to build is not only written on the surface of the earth, but also hidden deep within it. Beneath the sun-scorched plains of Cappadocia lies a world turned inside out. While the Moai stand defiant against the sky, the city of Derinkuyu retreats into the earth, a sprawling subterranean labyrinth carved deep into the soft volcanic rock. This was not a simple cave or a temporary refuge. It was a fully self-sufficient metropolis, descending 18 levels to a depth of 280 feet, a vertical city capable of housing 20,000 people for months at a time. The scale is almost impossible to grasp from the surface. You have to descend into its cool, dark heart to understand its genius. This was an architectural masterpiece in reverse, a civilization's greatest achievement hidden completely from view. The engineering challenges they overcame are staggering. How do you provide fresh air for tens of thousands of people buried under millions of tons of rock? The builders engineered a network of over 50 sophisticated ventilation shafts, some stretching from the deepest chambers all the way to the surface, creating a constant, life-sustaining breeze throughout the complex. They tapped into underground rivers to create reliable wells, ensuring a permanent water supply. They carved out vast rooms for grain storage, wine presses for production, and even stables for livestock with special channels to manage waste. There were churches for worship, communal kitchens, and spaces for schooling, all connected by a seemingly endless maze of tunnels. Security was paramount. The entire city could be sealed from the inside using massive, circular stone doors. These were not simple slabs. Each one was a meticulously balanced wheel of rock, several feet thick and weighing half a ton, which could be rolled into place from a single point, blocking a corridor completely. Their very existence begs the question, what were they hiding from? Was it from invading armies, from harsh climatic shifts, or from some other, unknown threat that forced an entire society to go to ground? Archaeologists still debate who first conceived of this underground world. Was it the Phrygians over 2,500 years ago, or early Christians seeking refuge from persecution centuries later? The truth is, the construction methods remain largely speculative. The precision of the excavations, the perfect understanding of geology to ensure structural integrity against earthquakes, the flawless logic of its layout, all point to a culture with an almost intuitive knowledge of their environment. Why would a people invest such monumental effort into building a city meant to be invisible? The answer may be found not just in Derinkuyu itself, but in the fact that it is merely one node in a vast hidden network. This city connects by tunnel to other underground complexes, suggesting an entire civilization lived and moved beneath the earth, a secret world whose full story is still waiting to be uncovered. Derinkuyu was not an isolated marvel. From the windswept highlands of Scotland to the Anatolian plains of Turkey, a vast and mysterious network lies hidden beneath the soil of Europe. Thousands of narrow Stone Age tunnels, some only 20 to 30 inches wide, snake through the earth for hundreds of miles in total. This is not a random collection of holes. It is a continent-spanning web, and its construction reveals a deeply puzzling consistency. How did separate cultures, separated by vast distances and mountain ranges, all develop the same sophisticated tunneling techniques? The passages are not crude digs. They are architectural feats, carefully carved and braced to prevent collapse over millennia, all achieved without any metal reinforcement or modern surveying tools. The builders possessed an intuitive, almost supernatural, understanding of geology and structural integrity. Some of these cramped corridors feature clever ventilation shafts to circulate air, small chambers for storage, and even niches that may have held oil lamps, creating a primitive but effective lighting system for the perpetual darkness. What drove them to spend generations carving out these claustrophobic pathways? The theories are as varied as the tunnels themselves. Were they places of refuge during tribal conflicts, allowing entire communities to vanish from sight? Could they have been sacred spaces for secret initiation rites, where the journey through the narrow, dark earth was a spiritual transformation? Or were they practical transportation routes, allowing people to move safely between settlements during harsh winters or under the threat of predators? The sheer scale of the network suggests a purpose that was both urgent and universal, a shared response to a challenge we can no longer see. This incredible underground world forces us to wonder what else connected these prehistoric cultures. If they were linked by tunnels beneath the earth, what other colossal projects did they imprint upon the surface of the land itself? High above the arid plains of Peru, the earth itself becomes a canvas. The Nazca Lines are not monuments you can walk beside or touch. They are geoglyphs, colossal designs so vast that their true form only emerges when viewed from the sky. Scattered across nearly 200 square miles of desert floor are perfectly straight lines that run for miles without deviating, immense trapezoids, and stunningly complex depictions of a hummingbird, a spider, a monkey, and even a strange humanoid figure often called the astronaut. These creations are the work of the Nazca culture, a people who flourished from around 500 BCE to 500 AD. Their method seems deceptively simple. They carefully removed the top layer of dark, sun-baked stones to expose the lighter, sandy soil underneath. This stark contrast, combined with one of the driest climates on Earth, has preserved these artworks for over 2,000 years. The simplicity of the technique, however, belies an almost impossible feat of engineering and vision. How do you create a drawing of a monkey with a perfectly coiled tail, spanning the length of several football fields when you are standing on the ground, unable to see the whole picture? The precision is staggering. Some of the straight lines run for over 10 miles with a deviation of less than 6 feet, a level of accuracy that would challenge modern surveyors even with laser levels and GPS satellites. The curves of the animal figures are smooth and perfectly proportioned, showing no signs of the distortion you would expect from a ground-level perspective. This implies the Nazca possessed a form of advanced projective geometry, a way to scale up a small model into a giant landscape artwork without ever checking their work from above. Some researchers suggest they could have used a system of stakes and ropes to plot out the designs, a painstaking process requiring incredible patience and mathematical skill. Yet, this still does not fully explain how they maintained such flawless symmetry and alignment over such vast, uneven terrain. The purpose of these lines is as hotly debated as their construction. Were they a giant astronomical calendar with the lines pointing to celestial events on the horizon? Perhaps they were sacred pathways walked by priests during rituals to petition the gods for water in this unforgiving desert. A more controversial theory posits they were created as landing markers or messages for beings from the sky, a notion fueled by the fact that they are truly only appreciable from the air. Whatever their purpose, the Nazca Lines force us to confront a profound question. Did this ancient culture develop a form of abstract thinking and spatial reasoning so advanced that they could conceptualize and execute artworks meant for a viewer they could never become? This act of creating for an unseen, perhaps divine, perspective reveals a mindset that is both alien and awe-inspiring. The sheer ambition to alter the very face of the earth on such a scale suggests a desire to communicate something monumental, a message written in the soil that we are still struggling to read. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as the ultimate benchmark of prehistoric engineering. Visualize the Giza Plateau around 2560 BCE, a hive of orchestrated chaos where tens of thousands of workers assembled 2.3 million limestone blocks. Each block weighed an average of 2.5 tons, the combined mass creating a structure that would remain the tallest in the world for 3,800 years. Yet its sheer volume is not its most baffling feature. It is the impossible precision etched into every measurement. The pyramid's base is a near-perfect square, with its sides aligned to the 4 cardinal directions with an error of just 1/15 of a degree. This alignment to true north is more accurate than what many modern structures achieve, a feat that would have required a sophisticated understanding of astronomy we do not attribute to a Bronze Age society. How did they achieve such perfection over a foundation spanning 13 acres? The mathematical properties encoded in its dimensions are another layer of the mystery. The ratio of the pyramid's perimeter to its height is remarkably close to 2 pi, suggesting the builders might have intentionally embedded the value of this fundamental constant into their design centuries before it was formally understood by Greek mathematicians. Then there is the challenge of the king's chamber deep within the pyramid's heart. This room is constructed from immense granite beams, each one weighing up to 80 tons. These stones were quarried from Aswan, over 500 miles away. How were these colossal blocks transported such an immense distance up the Nile and then, once on site, lifted and positioned with such exactitude inside the pyramid's core? The conventional theory of massive, sprawling ramps becomes difficult to sustain when you calculate the scale needed. A ramp to reach the pyramid's summit would have required more material than the pyramid itself, and no archaeological evidence for such a colossal earthwork has ever been found. Recent technological advances have only deepened the enigma. Using muon radiography, a technique that scans for cosmic particles, scientists have detected large, unexplained voids within the pyramid. These are not small gaps, but significant empty spaces whose purpose and structure remain completely unknown. It suggests that after 4,500 years, we still have not fully mapped this ancient wonder. What other construction techniques might the ancient Egyptians have mastered that leave no trace in the archaeological record? The Great Pyramid represents a summit of ancient achievement, yet it forces us to look at an even more staggering feat of transport. involving stones of a weight that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. High in the thin air of the Peruvian Andes, the fortress of Ollantaytambo stands as a monument to a stubborn, almost impossible will. Its megalithic walls are a breathtaking tapestry woven from stone, but a closer look reveals a profound anomaly. These are not ordinary building blocks, they are colossal slabs of red porphyry, a rock so hard it sparks when struck by steel. Some of these stones weigh 150 tons, and they were not found at the site. They were quarried from a mountainside on the opposite side of a deep valley, separated from the fortress by the rushing Yorubamba River. The journey these stones took is a puzzle that defies logic. How do you move a weight equivalent to 3 fully loaded semi-trucks down one mountain, across a torrential river, and then up another steep slope, all without wheels, without pulleys, and without the power of draft animals? The Inca are known for their sophisticated rope bridges, and one theory suggests they may have temporarily diverted the river, dragged the stones across the dry riverbed on rolling logs, and then used an intricate system of earthen ramps and hundreds of laborers to inch them up into position. Yet the physical feat of transportation is only half the enigma. Once in place, the stones were transformed. They were fitted together with a precision that seems to belong to a different age. The joints are not simple and rectangular. They are a complex jigsaw of multifaceted angles with protrusions that slot perfectly into corresponding indentations in the neighboring stone. This polygonal masonry creates a wall so resilient that the stones lock together, moving as a single, flexible unit during the violent earthquakes that frequently shake the region. The shaping of this incredibly hard rock presents its own mystery. The surfaces are smooth, the edges sharp, and some blocks feature curious nubs and seemingly abstract channels. These features are so precise that they suggest the use of tools far harder than the copper or bronze the Inca possessed. How do you carve intricate details into a stone that can blunt modern steel tools using only stone hammers? It is as if the builders had access to a technology that has since vanished from history. This masterful stonework is not an isolated aesthetic choice. The entire site is a marvel of integrated engineering, with a network of water channels that demonstrate a hydraulic understanding centuries ahead of its time, and alignments that suggest a deep celestial knowledge. The question is not just how they built it, but why they went to such extraordinary lengths. This signature of interlocking polygonal stonework, however, is a recurring theme in the Andes, pointing to a shared and perhaps even older knowledge. While the Inca shaped mountainsides with stone, another civilization on the opposite side of the Americas was mastering a different, equally vital element: water. In the heart of ancient Mexico, the great city of Teotihuacan thrived not just because of its massive pyramids, but because of what flowed silently beneath its streets. This was a metropolis sustained by a hidden lifeline, a sophisticated underground aqueduct system of almost miraculous design. Far from simple ditches, these were precision-engineered channels that tapped into distant mountain springs, guiding water for miles across challenging terrain. The builders carved and lined these conduits with stone, maintaining a consistent, gentle slope that ensured a steady flow without the destructive force of erosion or the stagnation of a pool. This required a master-level understanding of hydraulic principles, a grasp of fluid dynamics that would not be formally documented in the Western world for over 1,000 years. How did they achieve such a perfect, consistent grade over such long distances, all without laser levels or modern surveying equipment? The mystery only deepens inside the city itself. The system was not just a single pipe. It included elaborate filtration chambers where water would slow, allowing sand and debris to settle out. It featured clever sedimentation tanks and pressure equalization features that prevented surges and maintained a stable supply, a level of control that rivals modern municipal water management. This was not a haphazard addition. The entire water network was seamlessly integrated into the city's grand architectural layout, flowing beneath the Avenue of the Dead and feeding the residential compounds, the workshops, and the vast ceremonial centers. It points to a level of comprehensive urban planning that is staggering for its time. The existence of such an advanced system makes its ultimate fate all the more haunting. Why did this brilliant civilization, with its profound engineering knowledge and its city of over 100,000 people, suddenly collapse and vanish, leaving their magnificent aqueducts to fall silent? The answer remains one of archaeology's greatest puzzles, a testament to a sophistication that was somehow not enough to ensure survival. This drive to control the environment with intricate technology is a thread that connects ancient cultures across the globe, leading us to another marvel where precision was not just a matter of civic function, but of cosmic alignment. From the silent, static stones of ancient quarries, we now turn to a device that moves, recovered from the depths of the sea near the Greek island of Antikythera. A corroded lump of bronze and wood revealed a secret that shattered our understanding of ancient technology. This is the Antikythera Mechanism, a complex clockwork instrument dating back to around 100 BCE. For decades, it was a curiosity, its true nature hidden under centuries of calcification. But advanced imaging techniques like X-ray and CT scanning have peeled back the layers, revealing an intricate maze of at least 30 interlocking bronze gears, all housed within a wooden case no larger than a shoebox. This was not a simple calendar. It was a portable, hand-cranked analog computer of breathtaking sophistication. By turning a handle on the side, the user could simulate the movements of the sun, the moon, and the 5 known planets. Dials on the front and back would display the phases of the moon, predict solar and lunar eclipses with remarkable accuracy, and even track the 4-year cycle of the ancient Olympic Games. The engineering required to achieve this is staggering. The gear trains incorporate highly complex mathematical ratios, including one that accurately models the moon's slightly irregular orbit, a subtle motion known as the lunar anomaly. This level of astronomical understanding and mechanical execution would not be seen again in Europe until the development of sophisticated astronomical clocks in the 14th century, a gap of over 1,400 years. The manufacturing mystery is just as profound. Each gear, some with as few as 15 teeth, was meticulously cut by hand from a sheet of bronze. These teeth are tiny, often less than a millimeter across, and they had to be perfectly shaped and spaced to mesh flawlessly with their neighbors. How did ancient artisans achieve this microscopic precision without the aid of magnifying lenses or precision lathes? The device is a library of lost knowledge, with hidden inscriptions covering its surfaces, effectively serving as a user's manual for the cosmos. These texts reveal a deep understanding of Babylonian astronomical cycles and Greek geometrical theories, all compressed into a single mechanical masterpiece. The central, haunting question is not just how it was made, but why we have found only one. Such a device does not appear in a vacuum. It implies a workshop, a tradition of craftsmanship, and a theoretical foundation that has otherwise vanished from the historical record. Who was the Archimedes that designed this marvel? What other technological wonders, perhaps even more advanced, were lost in the fires of burning libraries or the holds of sunken ships? The Antikythera Mechanism stands as a stark reminder that the timeline of human progress is not a straight, ascending line, but a path with branches that were pruned and forgotten. This single artifact forces us to reconsider the entire technological landscape of the ancient world. a world that may have been far more mechanically inclined than we ever dared to believe. The Iron Pillar of Delhi stands as a silent sentinel, defying the one force that conquers all metal, time. For over 1,600 years, this 23-foot-tall column of iron has endured monsoons, scorching heat, and urban pollution, yet its surface remains remarkably uncorroded. This is not a small artifact preserved in a museum case. It is a 6-ton behemoth exposed to the open air, and its pristine condition is a metallurgical miracle that baffles scientists to this day. Modern steel, for all our advanced alloys and protective coatings, would show significant rust after just a few decades in similar conditions. So what is the secret of this ancient iron? The answer lies in its unique chemical composition. The pillar is not pure iron. It is a masterfully forged material with a high phosphorus content and an exceptionally low amount of sulfur and manganese. This specific recipe, achieved through a sophisticated and now lost forging process, created a thin, protective layer on the surface. This passive film, only a few millimeters thick, acts as an invisible shield, preventing oxygen and moisture from attacking the metal beneath. The mystery deepens when we consider how this was accomplished. Creating such high-purity iron on this scale was a monumental task. The prevailing theory suggests that ancient blacksmiths used a technique called forge welding. They would have heated large pieces of iron sponge, produced in traditional furnaces, to a white-hot temperature, and then hammered them together into a single, massive bloom. This process would have required immense, sustained heat and a level of skill that borders on artistry. How did they manage the thermal stress to create a perfectly homogeneous pillar without modern temperature controls or power hammers? The inscription on the pillar dates it to the reign of King Chandragupta II around 375 to 415 CE, a golden age of Indian science. Yet the knowledge displayed here seems to leapfrog centuries. It would be over 1,000 years before Western metallurgy began to understand and replicate such principles during the Industrial Revolution. Were these techniques a happy accident, a result of the specific iron ores available, or did the metalworkers of the Gupta Empire possess a profound, systematic understanding of material science that was never recorded? This pillar is a testament to a forgotten pinnacle of engineering, a durable construction that seamlessly bridges the gap between the ancient and modern worlds. It forces us to wonder what other material secrets were mastered and then lost, leading us to another substance that seems to defy its own nature. While the iron pillar defied corrosion through metallurgical genius, another ancient material performed an even greater trick, actually growing stronger with age. The majestic dome of the Roman Pantheon has sheltered worshippers for nearly 2,000 years, its vast, unsupported concrete ceiling a silent challenge to our own modern building standards. Today, our concrete bridges and buildings often require costly repairs within just a few decades, crumbling under the assault of water and salt. Yet Roman harbor walls, submerged in the Mediterranean for millennia, have not just endured, they have become tougher. The secret was lost for centuries, hidden in the very recipe of their concrete. Modern scientists, using advanced tools like electron microscopes, have finally cracked the code. The Romans did not use simple sand and gravel. They mixed lime and volcanic ash with a crucial, counterintuitive ingredient, seawater. This combination triggers a remarkable chemical reaction. As tiny cracks begin to form from stress, water seeping inside reacts with the volcanic ash and lime, growing new, interlocking crystals that effectively heal the fracture. This is a self-repairing material, a concept that seems futuristic even now. The precision of their formula was no accident. It reveals a profound, almost alchemical understanding of material science, a knowledge gained through centuries of empirical experimentation. How could such a transformative technology, so vital for building an empire that lasted 1,000 years, simply vanish from common use? The collapse of the Roman Empire and the fragmentation of its trade networks likely played a role, scattering specialized knowledge and halting the production of this superior concrete. It forces us to ask what other revolutionary material secrets from the ancient world are still waiting to be unearthed from the ruins. This sophisticated manipulation of the physical world appears again in a different form, not in a material's composition, but in the very way massive stones were shaped and joined. The story of Edward Leedskalnin is a modern echo of the ancient mysteries we have already explored. In the early 20th century, in the swamplands of Florida, a single, reclusive man performed a feat of engineering that should have been impossible. Working entirely alone, often under the cover of night, Leedskalnin single-handedly quarried, carved, and positioned over 1,100 tons of oolite limestone, a material similar to coral rock. He called his creation Rock Gate Park, though the world now knows it as the Coral Castle. The sheer scale of his work is staggering. He cut and moved blocks weighing up to 30 tons, the equivalent of a full-sized school bus, using only hand tools scavenged from junkyards. He claimed to have rediscovered the building secrets of the ancient Egyptians, the very same knowledge used to raise the Great Pyramid. Yet whenever anyone approached, he would stop working, guarding his methods with a fierce and secretive pride. He never allowed a single witness to observe how he manipulated these colossal stones. The result of his solitary labor is a complex of massive sculptures, walls, and furniture, all carved with an uncanny precision. A 9-ton gate, perfectly balanced on a truck axle, was so exquisitely engineered that a child could push it open with a single finger. It rotated without a sound for decades, a seamless, frictionless marvel that baffled teams of engineers. When it finally failed in the 1980s, it took a crew of 6 men with a 20-ton crane to lift it for repairs. They discovered that Leedskalnin had centered the massive stone on a simple metal shaft resting on an old truck bearing. The real mystery was not the pivot point, but how he had managed to achieve such perfect balance and a frictionless seal with only primitive tools. How does one man, without formal education or modern machinery, bore a perfectly round hole through the center of a multi-ton block of stone? Engineers and physicists have proposed countless theories. Some suggest he used a complex system of block and tackle, chains, and tripods to create immense mechanical advantage. Others point to his cryptic statements about understanding the laws of weight and leverage, and his fascination with magnetism and electricity. He claimed to have perceived the singular pattern that governs all of nature, a secret he said was known to the builders of antiquity. Yet no conventional theory of leverage or counterweights adequately explains how he managed these tasks without leaving behind any evidence of the massive frameworks or earthworks such methods would require. His tools, found on site after his death, were rudimentary, including chains, pulleys, and simple metal bars. They are artifacts of a mystery, not a solution. The Coral Castle stands as a profound and personal puzzle, a 20th-century monument built with the seeming magic of a forgotten age. It forces a haunting question. If one man in our own modern era could rediscover and apply a lost principle of physics to move mountains of stone, what does that say about the collective genius of the ancient world? Their achievements may not be a mystery of forgotten tools, but of forgotten knowledge. The sheer uniformity of the Carnac alignments is what first strikes the modern visitor. Over 3,000 standing stones march across the French countryside in Brittany, arranged in rows so precise they seem drawn by a giant's ruler. This is not a chaotic scattering of monoliths. It is a planned, systematic landscape, a colossal geometric pattern etched into the earth by Neolithic people over 6,000 years ago. The stones themselves are a study in silent endurance. Some are mere pillars, while others are massive blocks weighing several tons, all hauled from local quarries and erected without the use of metal tools. The how of their placement is a formidable puzzle. How did a society without wheels or pack animals transport these stones, and with what technology did they lift and set them perfectly upright in such staggering numbers? The physical labor involved is almost beyond comprehension, a communal effort spanning generations. Yet the greater mystery lies in the why. The alignments are not random. Their precise orientation corresponds to the movements of the sun and the moon. Certain rows align with the solstice sunrises and sunsets, while others appear to track the complex 18.6-year cycle of the lunar standstills. This reveals a deep, sustained astronomical observation, a knowledge of celestial mechanics that we do not typically attribute to Stone Age farmers, but the purpose may reach even deeper than the stars. Recent geological surveys have uncovered a compelling correlation. The long, straight rows of stones appear to map directly onto hidden underground water sources and significant geological fault lines. It is as if the monument is a massive terrestrial switchboard, connecting the cosmic cycles above with the telluric energies below. Was Carnac a gigantic astronomical calendar, a sacred temple under the open sky, or a sophisticated geomancy marker designed to harness or acknowledge the unseen forces of the earth itself? Why would a Neolithic community commit centuries of toil to such an abstract, landscape-scale project? The answer might be that they perceived the world as an interconnected whole, where the heavens, the earth, and the water flowing beneath it were all part of a single, living system to be honored and understood. This drive to map the cosmos onto the land is a thread that connects cultures across the globe, leading to another arrangement of stones whose purpose is even more enigmatic. Deep within the Irish landscape, a rounded, grass-covered mound holds a secret that unfolds for just a few precious minutes each year. This is Newgrange, a passage tomb built over 5,200 years ago, making it older than both Stonehenge and the Great Pyramid of Giza. Its ancient structure is a masterclass in celestial engineering. Above the entrance, a slender, rectangular opening known as the roof box was not built for people to enter, but for a single, brilliant beam of light. At dawn on the winter solstice, as the sun crests the horizon, a narrow shaft of sunlight pierces through this special window. It travels down the long, dark passageway, a corridor of 60 feet, gradually illuminating the central burial chamber in a dramatic display of golden light that lasts for approximately 17 minutes before fading away. This is not a vague alignment or a happy accident. It is a precisely calculated event, repeating with the turn of the seasons, proving its builders possessed a deep and exact understanding of the solar cycle. How did a Neolithic farming community, without written language or sophisticated tools, track the sun's slow migration with such pinpoint accuracy, engineering a stone structure to capture its lowest, weakest light on the shortest day of the year? The feat required more than just astronomical knowledge. Constructing the tomb itself was a monumental undertaking, involving the movement of over 200,000 tons of stone and earth to create a mound that covers an entire acre. The entrance is guarded by a massive, intricately carved stone covered in spirals, diamonds, and concentric circles. These are not random scratches. They are a complex, symbolic language, a codex in stone whose message has been utterly lost to time. Were they maps of the cosmos, representations of the afterlife, or a record of the builder's knowledge? We simply do not know. Inside, the structural genius continues. The chamber is capped by a corbelled roof, a dome created by stacking flat stones in overlapping circles. each layer leaning inward until they meet at the top. This technique, perfected millennia before the Roman Pantheon, creates a structure that is not only incredibly strong, but has also remained completely watertight for over 50 centuries. The builders integrated a clever drainage system into the mound's construction, channeling water away so efficiently that the inner sanctum has stayed dry through countless storms. The mathematical and engineering foresight required for this is staggering. This was not a crude pile of rocks. It was a precision-built machine designed for a singular, celestial event, a fusion of astronomy, architecture, and spirituality that challenges our perception of prehistoric societies. What kind of culture possessed a knowledge system so refined that they could encode the rhythm of the solar system into a silent, enduring tomb? This profound connection between ancient structures and the heavens is a thread that leads us across the globe to another civilization that mapped the cosmos with equal, if not greater, ambition. Perched on a knife-edge ridge in the Peruvian Andes, Machu Picchu is a masterpiece of structural defiance. This ancient city has clung to its mountain throne for over 5 centuries, enduring the violent, shuddering earthquakes that frequently rip through the region. The secret to its survival is written in the very stones of its walls. Look closely, and you will see that they are not held together by mortar. Instead, each granite block is a unique, multi-faceted puzzle piece, cut with such astonishing precision that it locks perfectly with its neighbors. This is polygonal masonry at its most advanced, creating walls that are not rigid but flexible. When the ground trembles, these stones are designed to dance. They shift, they sway, they settle, and then, when the tremor passes, they simply lock back into place. It is architecture that breathes with the mountain, an engineering solution that many modern builders are only now beginning to fully appreciate. But how do you cut and fit stones with this level of interlocking complexity? The surfaces are smooth, the angles are sharp, and the joints are so tight that you cannot slip a piece of paper between them. The Inca had no iron, no steel. Their primary tools were harder stones, river cobbles used as hammers to painstakingly shape the granite. This was not a quick process. It was a monumental act of persistence, a testament to a culture that understood its materials on an almost intuitive level. This brilliance extends far beyond the walls. The entire city is an integrated hydrological system. The steep terraces are not just for agriculture. They are a complex network of drainage layers, preventing saturation and catastrophic landslides. Stone channels still carry rainwater through the city, guiding it away from foundations with a gentle, controlled flow that prevents erosion. This mastery of water management in such a precipitous location is as impressive as the stonework itself. Then there is the question of logistics. How did they transport these massive stones up such steep, treacherous paths without the wheel or draft animals? The answer likely lies in an army of human labor, using ropes, ramps, and levers to inch each block into its ordained place. The architectural planning shows a profound respect for the natural landscape. The buildings follow the contours of the ridge, and sacred structures are strategically placed to align with prominent mountain peaks and celestial events. How did the Inca develop this holistic, advanced form of structural engineering without a formal written language or the mathematical systems we would consider essential? Their knowledge was clearly empirical, passed down through generations, a deep understanding of geology, physics, and their environment that was encoded not in books but in practice. This resilience in the face of immense natural forces points to a universal human drive to build not just for the present, but for the ages, a principle echoed in another ancient culture that also mastered the art of moving mountains of stone. Göbekli shatters the very foundations of our historical narrative. This sprawling temple complex in southeastern Turkey was already ancient when the first stones of Stonehenge were being quarried. Its creation dates back to 9600 BCE, a staggering 6,000 years before the Great Circle in England. What makes this site so revolutionary is not just its age but its builders. This was not the work of a settled, agricultural society with a surplus of food and labor. Göbekli Tepe was conceived and constructed by hunter-gatherers, nomadic people who should have been focused solely on daily survival. The scale of their ambition is breathtaking. They carved and erected massive, T-shaped limestone pillars, some standing 16 feet tall and weighing 20 tons. These are not crude monoliths. Each pillar is a work of art, covered in finely carved reliefs of foxes, scorpions, vultures, and lions, interspersed with enigmatic abstract symbols. The precision of this stonework is astounding, especially considering the builders possessed only flint tools. How did a society without wheels, without metal, and without domesticated animals manage to quarry these colossal stones, transport them from nearby pits, and then raise them into perfect position? The logistics alone would challenge a modern team. The conventional theory that agriculture led to complex society is turned completely on its head here. It seems that the drive to build this sacred place, this center for ritual and gathering, may have been the very catalyst that eventually spurred the development of farming. The people building Göbekli Tepe would have needed a stable food supply to sustain the massive workforce, potentially planting the seeds, both literally and figuratively, for the Neolithic Revolution. Then, around 8000 BCE, this magnificent complex was intentionally and carefully buried. Someone filled the entire site with earth, preserving it for millennia like a time capsule, but also hiding it from the world and erasing its memory. Why would a culture go to such extraordinary lengths to build a spiritual center, only to consign it to a deliberate grave? Was it to protect the site from an invading people? Was it part of a religious belief, a sacred entombment? Or did the knowledge and purpose of Göbekli Tepe become so dangerous or so forgotten that burying it was the only option? This single site forces a profound reconsideration of our past. It suggests that the human impulse for complex thought, art, and communal monument building is far older than we ever believed, and that the story of civilization has deep, hidden roots that we are only just beginning to uncover. The fortress of Sacsayhuamán stands guard over Cusco, its zigzagging walls a testament to a stoneworking genius that borders on the supernatural. Here, the stones are not merely stacked. They are woven together, an immense three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle where each piece is a polygonal giant, some weighing as much as 200 tons. The sheer scale of the limestone blocks is humbling, but it is the microscopic precision of their joints that truly defies belief. For centuries, builders and engineers have tested these seams, finding that not even a single sheet of paper can be inserted between them. This is not a matter of simple, flat surfaces. Each block is a unique, multifaceted shape with anywhere from 6 to 32 angles, all carved to interlock perfectly with its neighbors in a complex, shock-absorbing network. How do you achieve such a seamless fit across such irregular, massive surfaces? The conventional tools attributed to the Inca, stone hammers, bronze chisels, and abrasive sand, seem utterly inadequate for such surgical work. One persistent theory suggests the Inca might have discovered a way to temporarily soften the stone using a plant-based chemical compound, allowing them to mold the blocks almost like clay before they hardened again into their final, perfect form. Another idea involves an almost unimaginable process of trial and error, where a master builder would meticulously shape a stone, test its fit, carve a little more, and test again, a procedure that would have taken months for a single block. The logistics of moving these behemoths are another layer of the enigma. They were quarried from sites several miles away, requiring transport up and down steep Andean slopes without the wheel or draft animals. The most plausible explanation involves an army of laborers using ropes, levers, and earthen ramps, rocking each stone forward on rolling logs in a painstaking inch-by-inch procession. Yet the final result is so flawless, so geometrically complex, that it implies a profound, underlying mathematical knowledge. Did the Inca possess a form of three-dimensional geometry or projective drawing that has left no trace in the archaeological record? The walls were built to last, and they have. They have withstood violent earthquakes that have toppled Spanish colonial cathedrals built directly atop them. During a tremor, the interlocking stones of Sacsayhuamán shift and settle, only to lock back into place once the shaking stops. This is living architecture, designed to dance with the earth itself. Such a sophisticated understanding of seismic engineering forces us to ask what other advanced principles were common knowledge to these builders, knowledge that seems to have vanished as completely as the civilization that wielded it. This signature of impossible stonework points us toward another South American marvel, one that lies hidden deep within the jungle. High on the arid Bolivian plateau, the Gate of the Sun stands alone, a single massive archway carved from one 10-ton block of andesite. Its surface is a tapestry of intricate geometric carvings, dominated by a central figure often called the Weeping God, surrounded by a procession of winged attendants. For a long time, these were viewed as purely mythological symbols, but a deeper look reveals these are not random deities. They are a sophisticated astronomical code. The 48 squares flanking the central figure do not merely decorate the frame. They form a complex calendar system, a stone computer that tracks the solar year, the cycles of the moon, and the 584-day synodic period of Venus with startling accuracy. This is a unified cosmic clock, a testament to a civilization that saw time as a celestial dance and encoded its rhythm into unforgiving stone. The creation of this calendar is a puzzle in itself. Andesite is a granite-like stone, exceptionally hard and difficult to carve. To achieve the sharp, deep, and perfectly consistent lines seen on the gate would have required tools harder than the stone itself, tools the Tiwanaku culture is not known to have possessed. How did they engrave this complex codex with such flawless precision? The mystery only compounds when you consider the gate's journey. This monolithic slab was quarried from a site over 50 miles away across rugged, high-altitude terrain. Moving a 10-ton block that distance without wheels, without draft animals, and at an elevation that leaves modern visitors breathless, is a logistical nightmare that rivals the transport of the Moai or the stones of Sacsayhuamán. Once in place, the gate was positioned with a specific celestial alignment, designed to catch the sun's rays on significant days of the year. What civilization, over 1,500 years ago, possessed the mathematical depth to create such a precise calendar and the engineering prowess to build its housing on such a monumental scale? The Tiwanaku seem to have reached a pinnacle of integrated knowledge, where astronomy, engineering, and art were facets of the same profound understanding. Yet, this sophisticated society, like so many others, eventually collapsed and vanished, leaving their stone calendar as a silent, unanswered question. Why would such advanced knowledge simply fade from human memory? This drive to map the heavens in stone was not confined to South America. It echoes across the globe, leading us to a desert plateau where an entire civilization carved its vision of the cosmos directly into the living rock. Beneath the clear, blue waters off the coast of Japan, the Yonaguni Monument presents a riddle carved in stone and swallowed by the sea. Massive, stepped terraces descend like a sunken ziggurat, their surfaces marked by sharp 90-degree angles and unnervingly parallel lines. These are not the gentle, rounded forms of typical underwater rock. They are stark, geometric, and deliberate, a complex of platforms and what appear to be carved staircases resting 100 feet below the waves. The central debate is starkly divided. Are we looking at a spectacularly rare and beautiful natural formation, sculpted over millennia by powerful ocean currents? Or are these the drowned ruins of a civilization lost to a forgotten age? Marine geologists point to the region's unique sandstone, which can fracture along natural plains, potentially creating these seemingly artificial shapes. Yet the sheer accumulation of precise features strains this explanation. How does nature consistently carve perfect right angles, cleanly incised channels, and terraces that align with such regularity? If this is the work of human hands, the implications are staggering. For the structure to be above water, it would have been constructed at least 8,000 years ago, during the last ice age when sea levels were dramatically lower. This timeline predates the oldest known megalithic sites on land by thousands of years. It suggests a prehistoric culture with the knowledge and organization to quarry, shape, and assemble massive stone structures at a time when humanity was supposedly living in small, nomadic hunter-gatherer groups. The sheer scale of the possible construction, built to withstand the immense pressure of the ocean's memory, points to a level of engineering we do not attribute to that era. What civilization could have achieved this, only to vanish beneath the rising tides as the glaciers melted? Could entire chapters of human history be submerged, waiting silently on the ocean floor? This profound mystery of a world lost to water finds a strange, dry echo in the heart of the American Southwest. Far to the south, the stone ruins of Great Zimbabwe rise from the African savanna, a city built entirely without mortar. Its massive, curving walls are constructed from thousands of granite blocks, each one precisely shaped to fit perfectly with its neighbors, creating enclosures and towers that have withstood the elements for over 800 years. The sheer scale of this dry stone construction is a monumental puzzle. How did the Shona people, working without metal tools, wheels, or even a written language, quarry these heavy stones, transport them to the site, and then build walls up to 30 feet high and 17 feet thick? The granite itself is notoriously difficult to work, yet the stones were shaped with such exactness that the walls remain stable and true, a testament to a masterful understanding of structural engineering and balance. This was not a haphazard pile of rocks. The construction method reveals a deep, intuitive knowledge of physics. The walls are tapered, thicker at the base for stability, and the builders cleverly used different sizes and shapes of stone to distribute weight and stress evenly across the entire structure. The result is an architecture so resilient it has endured for centuries, longer than many modern buildings. Beyond the individual walls, the city's layout reveals a sophisticated urban intelligence. Great Zimbabwe was a bustling center of trade and power, divided into distinct areas. The hill complex, a granite fortress, likely served as a royal palace and spiritual center. Below it, the great enclosure with its iconic conical tower may have been a ceremonial space or the residence of the king's family. The surrounding valley enclosures housed the general population, artisans, and traders. This clear zoning for royalty, religion, and civic life points to a highly organized and stratified society, an advanced civilization that thrived in southern Africa centuries before European contact. The mystery deepens when we consider the development of their skills. Where did the Shona acquire such advanced stoneworking techniques? There is no evidence of outside influence. This knowledge appears to have been developed independently, a homegrown genius that emerged from a profound connection to the local landscape and materials. How does a culture leap from simple wood and clay structures to mastering complex granite construction, seemingly without a long, visible period of trial and error? Great Zimbabwe stands as a powerful reminder that the drive for architectural perfection and complex social organization is a universal human trait, emerging on every continent in ways that continue to challenge and inspire us. This African marvel echoes a pattern we have seen from Peru to Turkey, a shared legacy of forgotten engineering brilliance that forces us to look for the next lost city, the next silent wonder waiting to share its secrets. While Great Zimbabwe reveals a mastery of stone, an even older city perfected the art of living together. Mohenjo-Daro, a thriving metropolis in the Indus Valley over 4,500 years ago, presents a different kind of marvel, one of breathtaking order and foresight. Its streets were laid out in a precise grid pattern, a rational design that would not become common again for millennia. Every brick in the city, from the grandest structure to the humblest home, conformed to a standardized ratio, a universal building block that speaks of incredible centralized planning and quality control. This was not a city that grew haphazardly. It was a city that was designed, a master plan executed with an almost modern sensibility. The most revolutionary feature, however, lay beneath the streets. The people of Mohenjo-Daro engineered the world's first known and remarkably sophisticated urban sanitation system. Almost every single house had its own dedicated bathroom and toilet, with wastewater channeled through clay pipes into a city-wide network of covered drains that ran beneath the main avenues. These drains were equipped with inspection holes and sumps to trap solid waste, allowing for regular maintenance. This was public health engineering on a colossal scale, a concept that would be lost and then painfully rediscovered by later civilizations. At the heart of the city stood the Great Bath, a large, waterproofed pool built with meticulously fitted bricks sealed with a layer of natural bitumen, a tar-like substance. This structure was likely used for ritual purification, a centerpiece of the city's social and spiritual life, demonstrating an advanced understanding of hydraulics and materials. Yet this pinnacle of urban civilization holds two profound mysteries. The first is its sudden and complete abandonment. Why did the people leave this perfectly planned city? There is no evidence of a massive invasion, a devastating fire, or a sudden catastrophe. They simply vanished, leaving their homes and their streets to the dust. The second puzzle is the absence of any obvious monumental architecture. Where are the grand palaces, the towering temples, the statues of powerful kings? This was a society that invested its collective genius not in glorifying rulers, but in the common good, in creating a functional, healthy, and orderly environment for all its citizens. What knowledge system, what philosophy, enabled such a sophisticated and equitable form of urban planning to flourish so incredibly early in human history? The silence of Mohenjo-Daro leaves us with a powerful question about the true meaning of civilization, a question that leads us directly to our 24th and final architectural mystery. Our final mystery descends into the heart of Ethiopia, where the very earth has been sculpted into a place of profound faith. In the highlands of Lalibela, 11 churches stand not built from the ground up, but revealed by carving directly down into the living rock. These are not caves or simple chambers. They are complete, freestanding buildings, each one meticulously excavated from a single, massive block of volcanic tuff. The vision required for this top-down construction is almost beyond comprehension. Imagine standing on a solid plateau of rock and visualizing an entire cathedral hidden within it, then having the audacity to remove everything that is not the church. The builders began by carving a deep, wide trench around the outline of the entire structure, isolating a gigantic block of stone. Then, with nothing more than hammers and chisels, they started the painstaking work of hollowing it out. They carved the roof first, then the external walls, and finally, they moved inside to sculpt the interior spaces, the columns, the altars, and the intricate arched windows, all from the original, solid formation. This reverse engineering process meant there were no second chances. A single miscalculation, one strike of the chisel in the wrong place, could collapse a wall or ruin an entire pillar, rendering years of work futile. The sheer volume of rock they removed is staggering, estimated at 100,000 cubic meters. To put that in perspective, that is enough material to fill 40 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And they did not just create isolated buildings. They engineered an entire subterranean world, connecting the churches with a labyrinth of tunnels, ceremonial passages, and sophisticated drainage channels to divert water during the heavy rainy seasons. This was not a series of separate projects. It was a single, holistic architectural vision executed with breathtaking precision. The most poignant question is why? Why would a medieval kingdom in the 12th century commit generations of labor to such an overwhelming task? The traditional answer is that King Lalibela, for whom the town is named, sought to create a new Jerusalem, a holy city for pilgrims who could not make the perilous journey to the actual Holy Land. The churches, with their crosses, niches, and sacred symbols, are a testament to a faith so powerful it moved mountains, or more accurately, carved them away. This completes our journey through 24 engineering marvels, from the rolling plains of Salisbury to the underground sanctuaries of Ethiopia. Each one stands as a silent question mark against the backdrop of history, a challenge to our modern assumptions about progress and possibility. They remind us that the human spirit has always been capable of the extraordinary, driven by faith, by knowledge, and by a determination to create legacies that would truly last for the ages. These shared patterns across the globe are too consistent to be mere coincidence. From the Andes to the Nile, from Easter Island to the Indus Valley, ancient builders repeatedly solved the same monumental problems. They cut stone with impossible precision, moved weights that challenge modern cranes, and aligned their structures with the cosmos, all while separated by oceans and millennia. This points to one of two profound possibilities. Either these cultures independently arrived at nearly identical advanced engineering solutions, a testament to the universal capabilities of the human mind when faced with similar challenges. Or there existed some form of shared foundational knowledge, a lost technological or spiritual understanding that spread across the ancient world, leaving its signature in stone. Modern engineers are now looking past the mystery of how they built and focusing on why their buildings last. Our concrete crumbles in decades, yet the mortar-free walls of Sacsayhuamán dance through earthquakes. Our steel rusts while the iron pillar of Delhi stands untarnished after 16 centuries. The Romans created self-healing concrete with volcanic ash and seawater, a technology we are only now beginning to replicate. These are not archaic methods. They are sophisticated, sustainable solutions born from a deep intimacy with local materials and environmental forces. The ancient builders worked with their world, not against it. They understood that true strength lies not in brute force, but in intelligent design, in flexibility, and in harmony with natural laws. What if the greatest secret they left behind is not a single lost tool, but an entire philosophy of construction, a way of building that prioritizes longevity, resilience, and integration over speed and cost? As we face our own global challenges of resource depletion and climate change, these silent, enduring monuments ask us a crucial question. Have we truly advanced, or have we simply forgotten a more profound way to create? Our journey through these 24 ancient marvels reveals a startling truth. Across continents and centuries, a shared signature of genius emerges from the stone. The same impossible precision found at Puma Punku is echoed in the polygonal walls of Sacsayhuamán. The same celestial ambition that guided Stonehenge is written into the astronomical code of the Gate of the Sun. These are not isolated flukes, but pieces of a vast, interconnected puzzle. They demonstrate a profound and recurring pattern of human ingenuity, one that consistently challenges our modern assumptions of a linear, upward technological climb. From the 800-ton giants of Baalbek to the intricate bronze gears of the Antikythera Mechanism, these mysteries force us to accept that ancient civilizations possessed a depth of knowledge and a mastery of skill that we are only now, with our advanced tools, beginning to properly measure. The true testament to their brilliance is not just in the scale of their ambition, but in the enduring nature of their work. Our modern concrete crumbles in decades, yet Roman harbors heal themselves in the sea. Our steel structures require constant maintenance, while the iron pillar of Delhi has defied corrosion for over 1,600 years. Their buildings were not just constructed. They were engineered to become one with the forces of nature, to dance with earthquakes and withstand the relentless passage of time. This was a mastery of materials, mathematics, and physics achieved through an intimate, generational dialogue with the natural world. As we continue to develop new technologies for investigation, from muon radiography scanning the Great Pyramid to electron microscopes deciphering Roman concrete, these ancient puzzles are slowly beginning to yield their secrets. Each new discovery peels back another layer, suggesting that the past still has profound lessons to teach us about resilience, sustainability, and the untapped potential of the human mind. Which of these 24 mysteries most captures your imagination? Was it the solitary, haunting Moai of Easter Island, or the submerged enigma of Yonaguni? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you are eager for more journeys into history's greatest enigmas, be sure to subscribe. The story of our past is still being written, and its next chapter could change everything we think we know.